You know, for the press, one of the reasons we thought we would do this today is we give you something else to talk about other than a snowstorm.
Really, thank you.
Yes, we appreciate that.
We do.
Good morning. My name is Jim Fleming. I'm president of the Connecticut Automotive Retailers Association. It's my pleasure to introduce Chip Gengras, who is the president of Gengras Motors and a partner in a third-generation business with his brother Jonathan here in East Hartford. Gengras Motors, like so many of our franchise dealers, successfully operate, in some cases, more than just one franchise. The Gengras organization represents BMW, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Volvo, Honda, Harley-Davidson, and of course Chevrolet, where we are today. Chip is very active, as are most of our dealers, in the community. One of the things he does, he serves as chairman of the Connecticut Children's Medical Center, amongst other charitable organizations around Connecticut. He is very active, in fact, with the Connecticut Dealers Charitable Foundation called GHADA, and serves as a longtime member of the CARA Board of Directors. So I'd like to introduce Chip and again thank him for hosting this event. Chip?
Thank you very much on behalf of my brother, our 400 employees, and the 80 years we've been in business. Welcome. I'd like to thank Kevin and the team from General Motors for bringing the Bolt. This is the first Bolt here in the state of Connecticut. We have a number of dealers behind us today. The Hoffman family, Mike Lynch, Sue Atkins, Jeff Iosa, John Laird, DJ Jackson, and Ken Crowley, as well as some members from New Country, here to support what we're talking about today. And we have an honored guest, my former mayor and our current state senator, Tim Larson. And you'll hear from him in a little bit, but I'd like to introduce our chairwoman of CARA, which is Megan Scranton.
Thank you, Chip, and good morning. As Chip mentioned, I am the dealer principal of Scranton Motors in Vernon and Norwich, and I am also the chair of Connecticut Auto Retailers Association. I want to thank the entire Gengras organization for hosting this event today. I am proud of the 270 Connecticut Auto Retailer dealers that we have and our 14,000 employees for selling and servicing more than 30 wonderful electric vehicles that our Connecticut customers have available to them. I'm also proud of our partners, the 32 auto manufacturers who designed and build these technologically advanced electric vehicles like the Bolt we have here today. Today we're adding yet another vehicle to the lineup, which I just mentioned, and it is now on sale at Connecticut Chevrolet dealerships just like this one. Along with our 14,000 employees, another 14,000 locally employed people who depend on the franchise dealerships for their jobs, we want to thank Senator Larson and Senator Wong, who oppose the legislation pending at the Capitol that will only benefit Tesla. This is the third year in a row that we have had to fight for our loyal customers and businesses and our jobs. Enough is enough. HB 7097 should be stopped. By Tesla coming into Connecticut and pulling jobs out of the state, there are fewer jobs for our technicians, salespeople, and other employees. It also not only pulls from our direct industry of 14,000 jobs, there are thousands of other Connecticut businesses like the auto parts stores we have down the street that we buy our parts from, the local glass companies that we work with. It is also affecting those families, those employees, those businesses that are all contributing to Connecticut's economy. If a bill passes that allows Tesla to make direct sales outside of the current franchise dealership model, it will hurt small businesses, put consumers at risk, and drain resources from our communities. At the dealership, we are the customer's advocate. We are selling the vehicles to the customer, which supports, at my stores, over 150 employees and those families, but we're also the advocate when it comes to issues with the manufacturer. If I have someone who comes into the dealership and says, I'm having issues with my vehicle, we go to the manufacturer and say, you need to make this right for the customer. We work with the customer to advocate for them and the manufacturer so that they are in a vehicle that they're safe and they feel comfortable with. It's not to say that I don't think Tesla has a place in the market. It's just that they need to comply with the franchise system that has been tested for over 100 years. It's not the product that I have a problem with, it's the process. A lot of dealers in Connecticut are family owned and operated, and we take pride in our dealerships. Through the Connecticut Auto Retailers Association, we have our own foundation, which through the years has given over $1 million to local charities and organizations. It is not something that a national organization would do to invest in Vernon Boys Soccer or the Norwich Food Pantry. We would like to get down to the community roots because that's where our customers are and that's where our employees are. And we want to make sure they know how much we appreciate their business and give back to them. Car dealers, along with many supporters in the legislature, support policies that support local jobs. With that, I will turn the podium back over to Chip and introduce one of those supportive legislators. Chip?
It is my honor to introduce our state senator, Deputy Majority Leader Tim Larson. Tim has just been reelected to his second term as state senator. Before that, he was a state rep for 3 years, and prior to that, he was the mayor of East Hartford. He is a champion of business growth and a great supporter of the small business. And we are thankful to have him represent us and also call him a friend. Senator Larson.
Hi, good morning. Thank you all very much for coming today. This is really important for our local businesses. You know, when large companies come in and they try to come to Connecticut and find a loophole that actually, sort of sticks it to the local guy, it really irks me. I understand that we have this new economy, going on. We understand that, new technology is always important. But when you have a baseline of family-owned and operated businesses and great employees here that come and take care of you, there's no need for an outside company to come to Connecticut and try to escape coming forward and selling these cars in these dealerships. My wife and I are customers of the Gengrases and the Hoffmans. We've been great customers for a long time. We love the reliability. We love the dependability. I get my car fixed across the street. It's like my own pit crew. They're great people. They're just a wonderful value. And you start to look at property taxes, which we all hate to pay, but it's the bedrock of how we run government and how cities and towns operate. And that's what happens. They continue to invest here in East Hartford on and bring great jobs and keep people employed and follow all the rules. And so when you try to come into Connecticut and get around with some fancy loophole, I got to keep an eye out for it. I got to protect the jobs here in Connecticut. We talk about these things like casino gambling, where we have a big thing going on with Massachusetts, who's stealing all of our customers. And then you start to talk about the Uber franchises that are coming in and trying to upset the taxi businesses. Not to say that we can't work together to find things out, but I think even in this bill, I've got some very, very grave concerns about it. And it's just not fair. We work hard each and every day. I see Seth Falco over there who claims he played for the Oddfellows. I thought he originally had played for Calvin Ford. This is going back, 35, 40 years ago. Those are the companies that have been in our communities forever. You go to the Bushnell and you see who's sponsoring the arts. It's dealerships, it's the Hoffmans, it's the Gengrases. And now that I have East Hartford and I have South Windsor, East Windsor, I have Ellington. I just met Meg Scranton today, and her dad is started that business. It's this family content. It's Connecticut. It's sticking up for us here. It's for people who work every day hard to deliver great products. And it's not as though they can't sell it here. It's just that they don't want to, and they want to ship everything back and forth. And the other thing, selfishly, is that you let these guys come in, and then you can't get your car fixed. And then what happens at like 8:30 on a Saturday morning when I'm out trying to shovel snow or mow my lawn? Somebody says, I got this Tesla car, I can't get it fixed. Why the hell did you bring them in? They're not even here to service the cars. Not like the Gengrases and the Hoffmans. So I'm not really in favor of this legislation. I think that we've got a system in Connecticut that's tried and true, and I'm happy to support these guys. Thanks for your time.
as a leader in the state Senate, and also as a former mayor at the local level, Senator Larson clearly understands the importance of this legislation to Connecticut, to jobs, to consumer protection, because that's what this is really about, as well as to providing not only a lot of jobs, but jobs that pay very, very well, and will be here 2 or 3 generations after all of us are gone. They will be here. I did want to touch very briefly on a number of issues that I think need to be addressed in this bill. First of all, car dealers in Connecticut, the franchise car dealers in Connecticut, are very capable of selling electric vehicles. And all you have to do is look around the showroom or out on the lot, and you will see over 30 electric vehicles that franchise dealers not only can sell, but want to sell. We've seen some statistics in public hearings about who does a better job. This is very objective data that you'll see over here on the sign. Last year, car dealers sold 92% of all of the electric vehicles that were sold in the state of Connecticut. Every year, that percentage by franchise dealers goes up a notch and goes up a notch, clearly proving that Connecticut's franchise auto dealers are not only capable, but want to sell the vehicles that they own and that they have on their lots. Another issue that I think is very important is the jobs issue. This dealership and the Gengras organization employ about 400 people in Connecticut. Car dealers overall employ 14,000. That's because the franchise system is based locally, and the jobs that you don't always see when you come into a dealership, and that's what happens behind the scenes. The F&I office, the title clerks, and everything that has to go on, the HR people that has to go on behind the scenes are based here locally. If Tesla's loophole were law today in Connecticut, half the people, 7,000 people who are employed in dealerships today would not have a job. So this is about jobs that on average pay $61,000 a year, and dealerships that produce twice the number of jobs that would ever be produced if we used a direct sale model. Finally, and I think most important to the dealers and their employees that are here, the direct sale model is a consumer-unfriendly model. Inherently, it has conflicts. When a consumer has an issue, for example, with the lemon law, it is not the responsibility of the dealer, but rather the manufacturer to pick up that cost. And oftentimes, if you go to a lemon law hearing in Connecticut, what you will see is the dealer and their customer on one side of the table, and in many cases, a manufacturer on the other side. The importance of making that point is that if you have a direct sale model, the dealer will be missing from that table at a lemon law hearing. Same thing happens with warranty work and on recall work. We've seen a lot of recall work in the past few years. It's the dealers that advocate for the consumers. That is not part of the franchise system. That is not part of the direct sale system. It is part of the franchise system. It is consumer friendly. And finally, just to address an issue about whether or not Tesla is in fact a 100% American manufacturer. It simply is not true, and it needs to be addressed. Tesla not only produces vehicles in Palo Alto, California, where it houses most of its jobs, but they do produce overseas, just like all other manufacturers. In fact, they have a facility in Tilburg, the Netherlands, so it simply isn't true for them to try to make the argument to our legislators that they are the only American manufacturer. Just isn't the case. And for those of you that care to do it, I read Security and Exchange Commission reports. So the 2015 SEC filing under oath by Tesla, page 9, you can read that they manufacture outside this country, just like about every other manufacturer. So finally, this is about jobs, this is about consumer protection, and it's